Okay, so we're going to do a quick video on 5.5 multiplying and dividing polynomials. And I just wanted to refresh us on page 207. It has this little table that tells us what kind of products and quotients we're going to get when we multiply or divide different values that have different signs. Okay, so if we have a negative and a negative term, we're going to have a positive answer. Negative and a positive, we're going to have a negative answer. Positive and a negative, negative answer. Positive and a positive, we're going to have a positive answer. Okay, so not only is that here, but it's also on page 207 just to help you remind you. Okay, so the first thing I'd like to do is take a look at page 209. Okay, and we're going to use the distributive property to multiply a polynomial by a constant. So we're literally just multiplying a polynomial by a number. Okay, so the example here says example 2. Okay, so we have minus 5 times 4e squared minus 5e plus 3. So we remember that when it doesn't tell us what the operation is, the default is multiplication, right? So the distributive property means that we are going to take a value from outside the bracket and multiply it by every single term on the inside. So what this means is this minus 5 is being multiplied by 4e squared, is being multiplied by minus 5e, and is being multiplied by positive 3. So if we wanted to write that out again, we could have minus 5 times 4e squared. And I don't have to write the x because two brackets touching is implied than multiplying. And then I'm going to have plus minus 5 times minus 5e. And I have plus minus 5 plus 3 times minus plus 3. Sorry, whoops, there we go. Okay, so let's simplify each one. So minus 5 times 4, well, that's a negative times a positive. So that's going to be negative, and then 20. And our term stays the same, e squared. Negative times a negative, that's a positive. 5 times 5 is 25. And our variable doesn't change. And the next one, negative times a positive is negative. 5 times 3 is 15. Okay, there we go. That's how we multiply polynomials using the distributive property. Okay, it's not that bad. Okay, let me see here. If we want to do this with algebra tiles, okay, so I'm going to use an example from page 208. Let's see, number 1b. Okay, so it says 2 times minus s squared plus s plus 3. So what that is literally meaning is that we are going to make two groups of this polynomial. Okay, so I have a negative s squared, so I'll draw it out once. Negatives we're shading in, and then I have a positive s, and then I have positive 3. Okay, but I'm multiplying that by 2, which means I'm just going to draw a second group. Done. Okay, so what is the product of this polynomial? Well, we've now got negative 2s squared plus 2s plus 6. Boom, finished. Okay, take a look now and let's try algebra tiles, but dividing. Okay, so we're going to flip this around now. Okay, so let's go to page 210 and let's take question 1b. Okay, so question 1b says minus 4b squared plus 6, and then that whole thing divided by 2. Okay, so what is that going to give us? So basically what we're saying is we want to end up with this in two groups. Okay, so how I would do that is I would be like, okay, minus 4b squared. So I'm going to have filled in squares, and I want 4 of them in 2 groups. So I'm going to start and just evenly do 1 back and forth. So here's 1, 2, okay, I have some more, 3, and 4. Okay, so I've taken this and I've divided that by 2. Now I have plus 6, and I need 6 little positive squares. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then what is the quotient? The quotient is just what one of these is. Okay, so here that would be negative 2b squared plus 3. Okay, that's it. That's all it takes. Okay, now what happens if we are trying to divide a polynomial without algebra tiles? Okay, so I'm just going to go. Okay, and let's take a look at page 211, number 1. Okay, so number 1 says, or number 1a says, 12r squared divided by 4, plus 8, all divided by 4. Okay, so if we want to find the quotient here, okay, the first thing I want to do is rewrite this so we have 2 fractions, because we have 2 different terms. I want to have 2 separate fractions. Okay, so I'm going to have 12r squared divided by 4 plus 8 divided by 4. And what I try to do here is line up the numbers, line up the variables, and it makes it easier when I'm looking at what I'm doing to divide. Okay, and now I can simplify each fraction. Okay, 12 divided by 4, well, that's 3. R squared isn't being divided by anything, so that stays the same. 8 divided by 4, well, that's just 2. Okay, so then when I simplify this, I'm going to have 3r squared plus 2. Okay, and my quotient, which is my answer, is positive, because I have a positive number divided by a positive number divided by a positive. Okay, we're done. Let's try another one. Let's try 1b. Okay, it says 18v squared minus 6v plus 12 divided by 6. Okay, so here I have 3 terms, so I'm going to want to write them out to be 3 separate fractions. Minus 6v divided by 6. Notice how I'm trying to line up the numbers. Okay, so now I can simplify. Okay, 18 divided by 6, or 6 goes into 18 3 times. 6 divided by 6 is 1, and 12 divided by 6 is 2. Okay, so what do I have left? I have 3v squared minus v plus 2. Okay. In your notebook, I know it goes through a few more steps, and that's just trying to help you see that you really are dividing your numbers together, okay, and your term stays the same. Okay, right now we're not dividing by a variable, but that is coming. Okay, let's try one where we use algebra tiles this time. Okay, so let's take page 213, and we'll do 6a. Okay, so it says 3h squared minus 15h divided by 3. Okay, so this tells me I need 3 groups of that. Okay, 3 groups, let's go to total. That's better. You want 3 groups to total this, okay? Not 3 groups of this, otherwise we'd be multiplying, okay? So I have 3h squared, so I'm going to start with 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now I have my 3 groups. I take care of my h squareds, and now I'm going to have my negative h's. So 1, 2, 3. I can keep on going. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm totally cheating. 12, 13. I'm not drawing very nice rectangles. 13, 14, 15. Okay, so what is 3h squared minus 15h divided by 3? Well, it's one of these. Okay, so that would be h squared minus 3h. Okay, there we go. Nice job. Okay, so now you have the skills that you need to multiply and divide by a constant. Awesome.